This is day 12 of the Murphy Challenge at 7 Steps to Quit. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter account. Today we're going to be talking about changing the culture of your kitchen. So we got ready to get back on that groove again. Had a couple of days to rehab my back. And we talked about whole food plant-based eating before. But how do you set yourself up for success? Well, we're going to talk about changing the culture of your kitchen coming up here in a minute. But first of all, we've got to get back to doing this workout because I've had a chance to heal, had enough ibuprofens. Now it's time to hit it and don't quit it. But we're going to go to that kitchen next. So I changed totally to just doing walking in the morning and no weights for a little while. Because I'm not trying to hurt myself, I'm trying to help myself. Because this challenge is very important, but it's also more grueling because there's no rest days. But these couple of rest days I think have been helpful for me. Started the workout at 7:15, finished everything including the running just now, 45 minutes. So we're on our way. Broke a record for today. So today we want to talk about changing the culture of your kitchen. I'm not talking about just how you clean your kitchen and what appliances you use, although we're going to talk about that. I want to talk about changing the entire culture of your kitchen. And since this is the thing that we're focusing on right now, I want to start off with your spices. I have found that when I go and get spices that are driven and that are very much about the vegan lifestyle or trying to get things that are anti-inflammatories, I start getting certain ones. Start looking at things like cloves for my drink, along with cinnamon. These are a couple of items that really help with anti-inflammatory aspects of my drink. Then when I begin to look at things like, as far as my food, I look at curry, the benefit of curry. Now, these are all very tasty spices. Nutritional seasonal yeast. When you're cooking things vegan-wise, you need that buttery taste. This is the kind of a spice that helps out. It really makes things taste that much better. And then you don't have to abandon your traditional spices, like steak spices. You could use those on your mushrooms, or even, your salad supreme spices and stuff like that. And then, of course, if you're going to have to use any kind of oil, canola oil is what I learned from Dean Ornish. That's safe to use, although it's better to cook without any kind of oil. And you don't have to abandon your tried and true spices. I still use a little bit of Creole, if you can find it. This is one of the best things you're going to ever get. This, along with liquid smoke, this really begins to give you, in your food, when you're going vegan, a tremendous boost in taste, like A-OK. Now, garlic salt has been very helpful. Onion powder, very helpful with seasoning. And then you have this right here, which I haven't utilized it yet, but gluten flour is very good. Vital wheat is what it's called. This is actually very helpful for creating fake meat. Like the stuff that you get from, restaurants when they have, poor boys or steak sandwiches that have vegan options for meat. This is actually, it makes it with this stuff. It's amazing what this stuff can do. And then, I'm from the South. I always believe in a little loud, but I put that in the back because I'm not supposed to use that too much because of my heart condition, right? Red peppers and all of that. And then also, we can add a little different type of variety with the different types of Asian options, like peanut sauce, as well as teriyaki sauce, just as an example of things that you can get. So spices are important. Then we move up here, the snack and some of the main eats. Now, I utilize nuts as a snack instead of, let's say, candy or fast foods or anything like that. I use this because I just take one of these a day for selenium, just one. When I read up on it, it said, very importantly, just one a day. So it's almost like taking a pill. And then, of course, we're looking at avocados. They're very helpful. When I go and get my rice, stay away from white rice and get black rice or brown rice. But anything that's white flour, white rice, if it's bleached, it's not the healthiest version of it. Then I began to stock my kitchen filled with my snacks. If I just feel like having a handful of something, pistachio nuts, even though I'm not supposed to have a lot of these, but this is much better than grabbing candy or potato chips or anything of that sort. So I stuck my snack roll with stuff that's at least good for me. Now, the thing about walnuts and pistachios, these are at least very good as it pertains to raising your testosterone levels. Then my drink that I utilize is green tea, decaffeinated. And then I have my, my flax seeds, chia seeds, and all that type of stuff, and it's helpful. And even when I'm taking a look at my pastas, I try to go whole grain with everything as much as possible. So this is just my snack bar, okay, and my spices. Changing the culture of your kitchen is what's going to really help you change how you season everything. And by the way, this bread here, this isn't regular bread. This is potato rolls, okay? So once again, it's still a vegan option. First of all, just in general, having a blender is crucial so that you can put in a whole lot of things into one mixture and you can drink it all up. Whether it's, the protein and the creatine and the oats and the aronia powder that I use for my shakes and all that kind of stuff. All that is very helpful. But you need to have the right things to make your food and make it easier to make your food. Now, people may not think this is a big deal, but but having a type of a coffee maker that allows you to put fresh water here and set the timer, that's helpful too, because when you're doing intermittent fasting, this will help you so that you can make some additional green tea. You put the green tea packets up here or coffee, and then you're able to have that. Now, this is something I just bought. I don't know how to use it quite yet, but I've seen the results of it, and it's pretty amazing. This is an air fryer. So if you've got to have fried fake chicken or something like that, avoid the grease and utilize an air fryer. Now, this is some expensive stuff. It can be, rather, because it can run about $40, $50, $60 maybe, But they're coming down in price because they're becoming more popular or more common. But I must say that out of all the things that have been most useful, has got to be this right here. This is a food processor. Now, you got to be really careful with these. Hang on. Got to be really careful with these food processors because you see these blades right here? These blades are deadly sharp. In fact, right there, that was a result of me trying to just wash it. But as you have the blade here, one side you got this blade, it sets it up so you can just slice food. Just slice it. You feed it into the feeder, and it just slices. But you can take that same blade, flip it over, and you can have it grind some things. Now, here at the bottom, right here, you see this part right here? The blade right up under. Well, first of all, this is the other side. See this slide? When you look at it from here, this slide will have you shred things just, and it's done. I got to be careful. I don't want any of this to cut my other finger. I mean, on the other side to cut my finger. Now, you see this right here? This right here is crucial. This right here will allow you to grind things up like mushrooms so that it has the texture of, like ground beef and all that type of stuff. Very helpful. And then you have all the different levels of, off, low, high, and then you can pulse it. And then you can just grind things to just nearly nothing, when you have this all together. But these are the items that are very crucial when you're changing the culture of your kitchen. Because what you're not going to do is make everything about grease. Now, you notice, like when I was growing up, my grandmama would usually have that pot of lard here and bacon grease there and all that stuff. That is all off out of bounds. Now, you want to make sure that you get yourself some good pots and pans. Now, you still got to use these big old cast iron pans and these big old pots because you want to be able to cook food in such a way that you're able to do meal prep. Once again, we're talking about changing the culture of your kitchen. So you have all these things. You don't have to go buy them all at once. You can utilize what you have, but these are just some of the peripheral things. The biggest cultural change has to start right here. When you're shopping and you're getting things like, like hamburgers to unthaw, where do I go? I get veggie burgers. What is it made of? Teaming up with ginger, cayenne pepper, and a little bit of different aspects of food that's plant-based, but look at the ingredients here. Pea protein, mustard greens, collard greens, turnip greens, kale, spinach, apples, rice starch, garlic, oat fiber, sea salt, cayenne pepper powder. All of this is for a hamburger. You know, this is what you're looking for. Cilantro, lime, rice cauliflower. Just like white rice, but without the starchiness and the carbohydrates problem of rice, white rice. Then, of course, your good old-fashioned grandma favorite, all that stuff still works. Looking at collard greens, you know. We're looking at kale greens. Remember, these are superfoods with tremendous amount of protein without going into a whole lot of meat at all. This is my treat that I do for myself. This is actually French fries. But once again, even though it's white potatoes, it's still plant-based and it still tastes good. And of course, this is my unique thing right here. This is once again an example of the watermelon rind that I've grind up and I put into my shakes. Last but not least, look at what my refrigerator looks like. Now these are all the meals that I prepped early for myself. In fact, I'm gonna pull this out. I do meal preps for myself. You see this? What am I meal prepping? Well, I've got my beans, my sweet potato, and my mushroom steak. Oh, I almost forgot something. This thing right here. If I was to recommend you buy anything, this would be it. Here's what I like about this Instapot. First of all, I am notorious for hating to read instructions. I hate complicated things to work. I don't want a PhD on kitchen appliances, right? So anyway, but with this, all you got to do when you plug it up, if you're cooking soup, all you got to do is press soup, done. Or you go to beans and chili, you press beans and chili, boop, it cooks it and it cools down. And then when it's done cooking, it'll release it so that you can release it and get your food out of here. But if anything, I would say is a must buy from my point of view, this Instapot, because what this Instapot does, it allows you to cook several beans. I was able to do this 3-bean salad with mushrooms and all that in this one pot together with black beans, pinto beans, and red beans, you know. And so all of that was done with this Instapot along with all the other ingredients. You just throw them in there together like a big old mess. Throwing in the green peppers and the red peppers and garlic and all that kind of stuff. That Instapot instantly did it for me. When you look in your refrigerator, you should see colors upon colors. Here's my candy, right? Cherries. Here is my secret ingredient of all secret ingredients, my beets. And then I find a local food market, a fresh market, and see if you can get a hold of somebody and give you some oyster mushrooms or any kind of mushrooms. Or if you don't have that as an option, then do what I also do. Just go to a grocery store and get some mushrooms, because that's going to be a substitute for meat. And then after you make a tremendous amount of stuff, you can store it here in the cool and utilize it for meal prep for the entire week. You notice that I bag in all of my different vegetables in small bags so that I don't have a bunch of flakes floating around, you know, making for a dirty and a mess to clean up. But we keep all these things separate until we put them together. And finally, we have our snacks. Well, what kind of snacks do you have? What's wrong with an apple? Nothing. What's wrong with an orange? Nothing. And then we have our other things, red onions and tomatoes to help with our salads and stuff. And then try to pre-cut as much vegetables as you can so that you can just grab them and then cook with them when you have to. And finally, this is where I keep my favorite stuff. No, not liquor. I'm just using the bottle. My infamous hibiscus tea. You know, and all of these ingredients, all of these things are vegan. You know, you have chipotle ranch dressing, sugar-free, fat-free, gluten-free, cholesterol-free, vegan. You know, all of these things are vegan items. You have soy-free, veganese, egg-free, dairy-free. You don't have to give up taste, almond milk, not soy milk, but almond milk. And then, by the way, if you're ever utilizing asparagus, put it in a cup of water. That'll keep it fresh for you in your refrigerator. You don't have to worry about it. Even when it comes to cheese and butter, if you just got to have cheese and butter, this is vegan cheese. And this is vegan butter. I can't believe it's not butter. It's vegan. If I don't have ice cream in the house, I don't have the temptation of eating it. If I don't have junk food in the house, I don't have the temptation of eating it. And a lot of times you may say, well, I'm going to go ahead and eat this up first, then I'll get rid of it. No, get rid of it now and replace it now, because you want to start eating better now. And eating a plant-based diet, you're not going to miss out on any protein, especially when you're eating stuff like this. And it's going to be hearty. I mean, these beans and these steaks and all these kind of stuff, this stuff is hearty. It fills you up. And like we learned in our previous day with the Game Changers, with the big, gigantic, muscle-bound guy, you can gain weight eating a whole food plant-based diet and gain muscle and get stronger. You won't lack any protein. The kale alone gives you all your protein. The greens alone give you your protein. Even the fruit in the bottom as snacks, those have protein. So remember, this is your sanctuary, and you must set yourself up for success, because that's what matters the most. Be sure to join us for our next day of the Murphy Challenge, 7 Steps to Quit. Hoping you're having a blessed day. And be sure you share this information and these videos with whomever you like, free of charge. We encourage you to do so.